Wonderful day, wonderful day, wonderful day. This is your neighborhood sensei Fouché, and I'm telling all y'all to stay woke and relax, relax, and take notes. Oh man, I tell you, meditation is an every moment process. Distractions are by the many. Frustration right around the corner. And if you're not totally in tune with the now, and in this respect of or this aspect of conversation, when you start to go into an emotional instability, to recognize the moment and decompress is extremely valuable. I actually had another opening monologue of conversation, and I'll probably touch into that in another soon to be moment, because it just tells me that that moment didn't connect specifically to this time, and that's exactly why I couldn't get off the conversation that I thought I wanted to get off. It wasn't meant to be, you know what I'm saying? And I was trying to force the conversation in prior recording to this one, and it just wasn't working. You know what I'm saying? So I had to have the presence of mind to understand that my immediate dynamics weren't completely in a compromising situation of a more comfortable silence for me to be able to distribute my conversation without having some form of a wrench direct itself towards my gear. So, meditation is very vital to processing the moment and moving forward from the moment, and being most constructive in the following moment after a current moment isn't quite connecting or clicking to the on direction. You know what I'm saying? It's like you have like a short in the wiring where it's just not connected right, so it can't, the power fully can't stay in focus. You know, and in that moment you need to, fall back and go into the wiring and um, reconnect, restitch, or um, rewire the connection, and that way you have a fluid and fluent connection. You know what I'm saying? So that's basically what you have to do when you reach any moment of crisis. Is, you have to make adjustments. First you have to address yourself, knowing what you're going through and why, And if you're in an opportune moment amongst a codependent or a co existence in, common space, you might have to adapt or adjust um, your zone, your immediate zone, in order to be a little bit more um, settled, to be able to have more of a inner still. You know what I'm saying? So, life is all about adjustments and not trying to play tricks on yourself and have yourself overthinking um, into a feeling of high anxiety. You know what I'm saying? Because if that happens, that's where you're falling out of your true self and having that clown or that character con, have control of the stage. And that's easy to do because, he's a clown. He's entertaining. He's fun. He kind of makes you feel some sense of false security, and laughter and mockery. You know what I'm saying? And that's low level. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, falling back, adjusting out of that, and being able to move forward in, constructive processing and awareness, understanding that adjustments and conversation prior to making adjustments is important into, having complete awareness and placement into the moment and being able to adjust into a different moment, because the next moment should be different than the prior one, rather than falling into cycle of consistent frustration and unawareness into adaptability. So again, the power of now, a guide to spiritual enlightenment. That's been the program of installation for the moment, because we going through a reprogramming while deprogramming everything that hasn't connected properly, hasn't gone right, full of troubles. You know what I'm saying? We trying to have you understand that solutions are in your control as opposed to something or someone else's. You know what I'm saying? We are giving you empowerment. I mean, that's what you really need, courage. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wishes they had it, and we're explaining how to bring out the courage that is already instilled in you, because you already have a level of courage. It may be extremely minimal, but we can strengthen that tool, that identity, that being, and have it be at its greatest strength to be able to endure the long process of interdependence within life amongst other existences. You know what I'm saying? So let's get into this a little bit. We're pretty much almost at the end of this chapter 3. And right now, the subtopic under our chapter of moving deeply into the now, we are covering all problems are illusions of the mind. If you found yourself in paradise, it wouldn't be long before your mind would say yes. But ultimately, this is not about solving your problems. It's about realizing that there are no problems, only solutions to be dealt with now, or to be left alone and accepted as part of the isness of the present moment until they change or can be dealt with. We use the word, right? Let's go into isnness. I-S-S-N-E. Oh, I-S-I-S-N-E-S-S. Yes. Isness. Isness is a noun that refers to the quality or state of being, existence as something. It can also mean the fact that a thing is, or the state of things as they are. Isness is often contrasted with oughtness, which is the state of things as they should be. So again, if you found yourself in paradise, it wouldn't be long before your mind would say yes. But ultimately, this is not about solving your problems. It's about realizing that there are no problems, only situations to be dealt with now, or to be left alone and accepted as part of the isness, the quality or state of being, existence as something, part of the isness of the present moment until they change or can be dealt with. When you create a problem, you create pain. All it takes is a simple choice, a simple decision. No matter what happens, I will create no more pain for myself. I will create no more problems. I always say, if you don't want to be stressed, don't be stressed. If you don't want to be frustrated, don't be frustrated. I just asked my daughter the other day. I was like, do you like being angry? And this is one of my two girls, And I'm like, do you like being angry? And they're like, no. And I'm like, so, why do you choose to be angry, during specific moments? Like, if you don't want to be something, then why are you making it your point to be that? Like, what sense does that make? And she was like, it doesn't. And I was like, exactly. If you don't want to feel a certain way or be a certain way, then why not, be something different? If you want friends to call it that, then why would you isolate yourself from conversing with people or being around people? Like, there's no way that you're going to make friends in isolation, because isolation means that you're alone. There's no one else there, so you can't make friends. No one's going to get to know you when they don't even know that you exist. Forget about knowing who you are. They don't even know that you exist. I mean, the other part goes into being authentic and being within your true self. And then that's when they get to know you, not that character clown. You know what I'm saying? Because the character clown is just someone that goes along with the rest of the crowd to try to entertain and please them, because they feel that in validating that state of living, that they'll be accepted and people will think that, they're, one of them, and in different situations that might be specific, they'll clown you, because, that's how clowns go. There's no loyalty in the clown game. You know what I'm saying? A clown will clown another clown and clown another clown, and a couple of clowns will be together and they'll clown another clown. There's no loyalty and there's no morals in the clown game other than trying to trip you up all the time, trying to clown you. If you create no more pain for yourself, then you create no more pain for others. So basically they say, if you ain't trying to be into problems, then, when you around others, you ain't going to instigate and involve yourself in that. You are no longer contaminate. You also no longer contaminate the beautiful earth, your inner space, and the collective human psyche with the negativity of problem making. Yeah, if you say, man, there's people always got a problem with me. You know what I'm saying? That's probably because, you either instigated along with the problem, or you created the problem just in how you choose to live, how you choose to, express yourself, verbally and non-verbally. If you have ever been in a life or death emergency situation, you will know that it wasn't a problem. The mind didn't have time to fool around and make it into a problem. In a true emergency, the mind stops. You become totally present in the now, and something infinitely more powerful takes over. So if you don't understand that, if you get stabbed, you not thinking about who stabbed you and, whether you gonna live. Like, you realizing, I got stabbed and I need to get some help, and you're focusing on getting help or trying to help yourself to be able to get help and get some form of treatment. That's your first thing on the mind. You know what I'm saying? Once you get through with that whole process, then there'll be an investigation, of course, legally in the world of living, and they'll ask questions, in regards to what you remember, so that way they could do a trace to try to, find the culprit. And then at that point, you're remedying yourself to get better and get out of the hospital now that they took care of the immediate problem of you being hurt. A great deal of what people say, think, or do is actually motivated by fear, which of course is always linked with having your focus on the future and being out of touch with the now. As there are no problems in the now, there is no fear either. Once there isn't a problem, then you don't have anything to be afraid of. When you are solution oriented, you aren't worried about problems, because problems is immediate as something comes, you assertively go to the next step. There's no fumbling around and twiddling of your thumbs and procrastinating, being passive and just kind of taking that wait and see approach. Validating. You validating their disrespect. You ain't even got to worry about that. You know what I'm saying? Because you solution based. So you already understand what it is. You immediately addressed it or felt like you didn't have to, and then, moved on to the next play. You kept it going in regards to knowing how you're going to solve yourself out of that moment, or no longer having those moments if you have to be within that moment, or feel the need that you should be in that moment for whatever reason that happens to be related to you keeping a some form of stable income or comfortable residency. Not desperate, you know what I'm saying? Because if you feel desperate to be in a situation, you don't really need to be in that. So you need to get out of that. Should a situation arise that you need to deal with now, your action will be clear and incisive if it arises out of the present. Again, should a situation arise that you need to deal with now, your action will be clear and incisive if it arises out of the present moment awareness. It is also more likely to be effective. It will not be a reaction coming from the past conditioning of your mind, but an intuitive response to the situation. I just said that right before I read all of that, because I understand this whole reprogramming. I went through this personally. You know what I'm saying? The more you're into it, the faster your processor is into recognizing exactly not only what these statements represent, but in being, you automatically recognize problem base and move towards solution orient. You know what I'm saying? You don't stay stuck in problem base. You don't sink into the quicksand. You automatically move out. You automatically grab the vine and go into your Tarzan mode. You know what I'm saying? So you ain't got to worry about problems, because immediately once you recognize that the character clown or the mind is starting to be in control of body, you immediately make that fall back and go into assertive, deeper moral, compass-based, solution-oriented assertiveness and forwardness. You know what I'm saying? So you ain't even got to worry about that. The ending of time. You know what I'm saying? Because you get trapped into that whole time thing, lost in time, because you always past the future and you never now. Because if you in now, you know what I'm saying, there is no past or future. There's just moments after moment after moment after moment. And then past and future, beginning and end, is what we would call from the in between, from beginning to end. That would be time. But In moments, it's just the now. There is no time until there is an end after the initial beginning. Then, you know what I'm saying? It's almost like when you look at an obituary. You know, you born whatever day, year, month, and then you die this month, day, and year later. That is time. In between that time, there's a lot of nows. There's a lot of moments. The ending of time. We are breaking mind patterns that have dominated human life for eons. Mind patterns that have created unimaginable suffering on a vast scale. I am not using the word evil. It is more helpful to call it unconsciousness or insanity. Now, I'm going to call it the evil. Mr. Tolle is being completely polite, and I commend that. Me, I'm going to call it for what it is, you know. Call a duck, you know, call a clown, call a character, call the conscious con, a conscious con. You know what I'm saying? Call a puppet, call a puppeteer, a puppeteer. It is what it is, you know what I'm saying? Because words are just words, they're just labels, but you know, the labels are based off of observations and speech of on the level of maturity, immaturity, or basically what is. And in human form, language is just a tool to communicate what is, or the opinion on what is through observation. To alert you that you have allowed yourself to be taken over by psychological time, you can use a simple criterion. Ask yourself, is there joy, ease, and lightness in what I am doing? Do I feel happy about where I am in life and, you know, what I'm doing as far as making a living? The people that I'm around, the friends that I have, the relationship that I'm in. If there isn't, then time is covering up the present moment, and life is perceived as a burden or a struggle. And what they're basically about to get into, if they didn't state it and I read it through already, is there was a reason why you immediately have a relationship with someone or something, and the middle is the frustration, and you hope, and that's the loss, being trapped in time, because then you hoping that something will be different because of how you initially felt from the starting point. So that's how you get trapped into that burden, struggle, or that psychological time, as they're stating, is you feel complacent, is a word I use a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because you was initially comfortable, and the change is uneasy because the unknown means that you have to, you know, create a different base foundation into a standard of living, because being is just being. Once you're in being, then, you know, that whole changeover thing, you'll be able to deal with that a whole lot easier. And that's only because objects are objects, and moments are moments, and there are purposes into other moments in the now. So, you know what I'm saying, you thinking about what the moment, the purpose to what the moment represents, and that's kind of a plan into, you know, what you're moving towards. and creating a lot of nows. But again, you know, he's kind and he's trying to call it, he don't want to use evil, he want to call it unconsciousness or insanity. In the sense of unconsciousness, that's basically your autopilot self, or Horus, in the story of Osiris, Set, and Horus. And we already covered that, but we're going to keep going because we're almost at the end of this chapter, so we're going to finish through this read. Again, to alert you that you have allowed yourself to be taken over by psychological time, you can use a simple criterion. Ask yourself, is there joy, ease, and lightness in what I am doing? If there isn't, then time, excuse me again, this water makes me burp, then time is covering up the present moment, and life is perceived as a burden or a struggle. If there is no joy, ease, or lightness in what you are doing, it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to change what you are doing. It may be sufficient to change the how. How is always more important than what. Because either and or, how could be temporarily having to or choosing to still engage in the environment or the situation, and that could be, you know, different at any other moment, you know what I'm saying? But as long as you in present, then you could pretty much be adaptable and not necessarily have to change the environment, but just how you deal within the environment. You know what I'm saying? So it's either or. It's like, you know, pick your choice depending on purpose and moment. Completely accept what is, because you cannot give your full attention to something and at the same time resist it. When the compulsive striving away from the now ceases, the joy of being flows into everything you do. The moment your attention turns to the now, you feel a presence, a stillness, a peace. You no longer depend on the future for fulfillment and satisfaction. You don't look to it for salvation. You don't look for that thing or that person as far as needing it, no different than a drug, being an addict to objects and things based on mind projection or, you know, conscious manipulation. Therefore, you are not attached to the results. Neither failure nor success has the power to change your inner state of being. You have found the life underneath your life situation. You don't think of the fact of failure or success in the now. You know what you have to do, and you'll accomplish that moment to lead to the next moment. Of course, but you will not have illusionary expectations that anything or anybody in the future. Hold up, let's go back, because there was a question in the co-response. In that state of wholeness, will we still be able or willing to pursue external goals? They questioned the prescription. Of course, but you will not have illusionary expectations. that anything or anybody in the future will save you or make you happy. So I think I was just kind of going to covering that. You do have goals that you want to attain, or what they would call like a future, but you're not focused on, what's at the end of the rainbow. You're just focused on always the next step in front of you, knowing that you're going to get to the end of the rainbow. So you don't set these delusions of what's to be and have it be specific. You just have a sense of accomplishment and a goal, an open goal. I want to say open because you don't want to be over specific, but you have an open goal. And in that open goal, you are open to the different paths and the possibilities that will lead you there. You're not just, tunnel vision. Like, you think like a tree. Like, there's a lot of branches that could lead you, to being free. Having the leaves and the wind and the whole connection of the full aspect of nature with the rain, all those things, assisting in you existing and being. As far as your life situation is concerned, there may be things to be attained or acquired. That's the world of form, or gain and loss. Yet, on a deeper level, you are already complete. And when you realize that, there is a playful, joyous energy behind what you do. You ain't even they call it charisma. That's a good word. Or, having flamboyance, if we want to use that word. You know what I'm saying? And flamboyant is more like showy, but depending on the observer, and the mind state of the observer, like, they could throw any word out there, you know what I'm saying? But it's basically like a strong, moving confidence, you know what I'm saying? Being free of psychological time, you no longer pursue your goals with a grim determination. Like, you ain't even worried. You just like, man, I'm just thinking about the grind. I'm just thinking about the grind. And, I'm going to get where I'm going to get as long as I focus on the grind. Driven, being free of psychological time, again, you no longer pursue your goals with grim determination, driven by fear, anger, discontent, or the need to become someone. A puppet for the character, puppet for the conscious clown. Nor will you remain inactive through fear of failure, which the ego is loss of self. Which to the ego is loss of self. Neither your happiness nor your sense of self depends on the outcome. And so there is freedom from fear. It's like, for me, I'm not trying to be famous. You know what I'm saying? So whatever happens, I'm more into sharing and, paying forward with giving, the information. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not looking for a specific outcome or whether people are going to like me or not like me. Like, I'm just so enthused in what I'm absorbing and, again, like, giving forward. So what is going to be is going to be. You know what I'm saying? But for me, it's just all about giving, not what I'm receiving. You don't seek permanency where it cannot be found. In the world of form or gain of loss, birth and death, none of that You ain't even thinking about it. You ain't thinking about losing, winning, failing, succeeding, what you attained, what you lost. You know, all you thinking about is competing, being. And more than likely, those that focus on competing and being, those are winners. They ain't worried about losing because it's not in their mind state. They already won by the aspect of consistently competing, because a lot of people don't have the consistent drive to compete at a high level in consistent efficiency. They can't do it. You know what I'm saying? They basically like a boxer. You know what I'm saying? You got a long distance boxer, and then you got like a power puncher. You know, he'll run out of gas second, third round. You get a guy like Muhammad Ali back in the days, you know, he'll rope-a-dope you. He'll dance around the whole ring and tire you out, wear you out, and then what? You know what I'm saying? So you think of the stressed out person like the, 2-3 round boxer. You're going to get worn out immediately. You always huffing and puffing. You know what I'm saying? You ain't never got the stamina or the energy for the long haul. The rope-a-dope artist, you know what I'm saying, if you want to call it that, the dancer, the orchestrator of the ring, you know what I'm saying, he's able to go the distance. He got the stamina. He ain't worried about it. He know that you're gonna get worn out, and he's able to run around you because you ain't gonna be able to overpower him with your power. He can dance around that brute mentality. Like, that's just a gimmick. It's a toy. Like, he's just out there just, I remember Muhammad Ali, the way they would talk about him, and I saw him more later in his career when I was growing up, but, seeing the footage, like, yeah, he knew what he was doing. He'd be out there, and he already knew what his opponent was about. He already knew the whole macho attitude. So he was like, yo, I'm going to just let this clown go out there and try to wear himself out. And I'm going to just, focus on the sustainability. Because, I'm able to dance around and play around this whole thing for, 12, 13 rounds. And, I could just win on decision. I ain't even got to knock these fools out. I'm going to just win on points. I'm going to just gain points. Jab, 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 jab. Dance, dance, dance. Jab, jab, jab. 12 rounds. 15 in the old days, Victory, victory, victory. And still the champ, and still the champ, and still the champ. Everything is honored, but nothing matters. You know that nothing real can be threatened. You don't demand that situations, conditions, places, or people should make you happy and then suffer when they don't live up to your expectations. Everything is honored, but nothing matters. You know that nothing real can be threatened. And that's the end of our chapter 3. And in ending this chapter, when you are in your bag, as the young cats would say, like, you just high level. You ain't even worried about failure. You ain't even thinking about, like, not succeeding. Like, you so in your bag that even, let's say, a missed shot or, a strikeout or a drop pass isn't the end of all anything. Because when it comes down to the crunch, more times than not, you're going to, be on top. And you're going to wind up accomplishing way more than what they would label as a failure. Because a failure really isn't a failure. It's just a lesson or a moment to know and not repeating in another moment similar to that moment. And that's all that is. You create the stress by, overthinking, like, man, I wonder if I'm gonna catch it in that next moment. And you over practice and wear yourself out, and you so full of anxiety that yeah, when the next moment come, you already thinking about whether you're gonna drop it. So you probably gonna drop that too. The other cat, he's like, that was just, an anomaly. You know what I'm saying? An aberration. That don't never happen to me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I want that ball to come to me, because I'm going to get it. Or, yeah, give me the ball and I know I'm going to score. I know I missed that last shot, but, I score. You know what I'm saying? I don't miss shots. So this next one, that's going to happen. And that's just a whole level of confidence, bravado, flamboyance, you know what I'm saying? Whatever you want to label it, whatever word, but it's just simply being. And once you're in the being, then it is. And there's no worry. All there is just being. And being is comfortable. And comfortable is happy. And it's that simple. When we go back into this thing, let me set y'all up for chapter 4. And I shouldn't have so many of the burps on the next moment, but chapter 4, mind strategies for avoiding the now. This is going to be interesting, because this is going to deal, I know, with, and I know I just highlighted all this, but I don't over-process it while I'm, going through it. Like, I itemize the many moments, and I keep it moving forward, because when I specifically itemize all of these moments, I should be able to fully comprehend in the moment. So then, when I summarize like a title, I should be able to just pretty much pinpoint what the whole chapter is about. Mind strategies for avoiding the now. So the mind is trying to create different ways of not falling in line with its true hierarchy, which is the your true self, your subconscious self, your Osiris. Set doesn't want to give up shop. He doesn't want to give it up. You know what I'm saying? So he's finding different tools of manipulation, and those protectors of the conscious con, as I called it, the 7 deadly sins. He's going to use those cover protectors to keep the autopilot you in fear, so it can continue its dominance by manipulating you through its thought processing, for you to follow through and abuse you for its pleasure and the gimmick of life. And that's going to be very interesting moving forward into the next chapter. I hope you're interested in us moving forward, and I'm glad that I had this moment and was able to crush this recording in one shot, in this aspect of thought processing, in how I was going to create conversation, and specifically what I chose to adapt to in topic of speaking. So it was a success, and I feel great about it. You know what I'm saying? It goes right into everything we was reading. Like, instead of, kind of going to the overhype and, focus on the negative. Like, I'm like, look, man, I'm going to get this whole thing figured out. Let me go in, boom, boom, bap, so on and so forth. And, go back into resetting in the environment, and then press play. And you should be straight, man. And whatever happens, happens. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. And tomorrow's another day. But today's today. And this is how we threw it down. And that's what's up. So this is your neighborhood sensei, Fouché, telling all y'all to stay woke. And always relax. And make sure you take notes. And never be stressed. Always be smooth. And on that note, Be in complete center. One.